People of Reddit. What's something small you notice that shows someone has been through a lot? They're always the first to offer help, but the last to ask for it. Their inability to ask for help and tackling everything on their own. They're used to no one else being there and still needing to get shit done. Disproportionate reactions. Their reactions to most things are normal or even low-key, but occasionally they have a huge response to something minor. Key sign of trauma. A lack of trust in most people, often dismissed as just maybe a cynic, but probably stems from a lifetime of betrayal maybe as early as childhood. People who are grateful for the smallest kindness or gesture. Something scary or maddening happens and they just look bored or biggie. Seen worse. Apologize for things constantly, particularly if they didn't do anything wrong. People who are really kind with others, but not with themselves. I work with parents, children who have endured and some regularly still enduring trauma. One thing I notice is in times of serious, immediate stress, like an active shooter nearby as a real example, they go into a totally calm, rational state. Their brains seem to be trained to be more comfortable in chaos. They also seem to create chaos, often drama when things start going too smoothly. A lot of people see this as self-sabotage, but if you're used to living in chaos, calm can feel really unfamiliar and frankly scary. Nothing surprises them anymore. When the person needs to always be making a joke, no matter what the situation is. People like this likely had some tough times because they deflect their own emotions in the way of humor. The way they carry themselves, like a certain weariness in their eyes or a tendency to keep their distance in conversations. It's subtle, but there's usually a depth of experience or an emotional weight that can be sensed in their demeanor or in the way they speak. They automatically assume that the worst possible outcome will happen because it always has in the past. They show intense gratitude for simple acts of kindness like handing them a glass of water. The maturity with which they handle unexpected events. There are a lot of negative responses here, which is completely understandable. But I do want to add a positive sign of someone who's seen some things. They can be incredibly empathetic and patient, willing to listen with an open mind and emit a warmth from them that seems to say, "I feel your pain, and my heart is with you." Coming out of a painful part of life can really help a person understand why other people are the way they are, because they know what pain does to them. One small thing I notice is how people handle their personal space. It might sound odd, but someone who's been through a lot often has a certain way of arranging their things or how they react to being around others. For instance, a slightly guarded or meticulous approach to organizing personal items or a tendency to stay quietly in the background can be subtle hints. It's like these small details are part of their coping mechanism or a reflection of their experiences. It's a gentle reminder that we all carry our stories with us in ways that aren't always immediately obvious. The ability to read the room. People with traumatic memories often had to be alert to small warning signs indicative of impending danger. That survival skill can become finely honed and just a part of who they are. Tired body language, like they had been slumped up or something. They're slow to trust but also have incredible insight, empathy, and resilience. Very self-reliant, they've had to take care of themselves since a young age. Either really kind or really mean. Bad at day-to-day life, but extremely good in an emergency situation. They are less surprised and shocked at the absurdity of life. They are very quiet and usually on their own, like they live in their own little world. The way some people hesitate and take a deep breath before speaking. Wow, there are some really emotionally intelligent and aware people in this thread. Wish I could have people like this around IRL. Being passed over constantly for recognition. Hear me out. Some of the best people I've ever met, who I know have been through some shit, are never acknowledged for how hard they work because they are so hardworking. It just becomes a normal part of them. The saddest part is they are left thinking they are still not enough. Can see it in the eyes. I see the sadness in their eyes. Animals too. They are suspicious slow to trust someone in a low-stakes situation. They'll ask you what's wrong without you ever having opened your mouth, Hurt souls recognize other hurt souls. They've got a smile that doesn't quite reach their eyes anymore. Flinching. When my fiancé and I first got together, I would flinch anytime he would come near me for a hug or kiss. Never noticed it until he said something. Trauma is a bitch. Over or underreacting to scenarios. Situating themselves facing an exit. Never asking for a lot. They are able to read people. They run through countless scenarios and predict people's reactions, and they don't get mad or disappointed by others because they saw it coming. Occasionally, if something really hurts, they may feel a little tired or even relieved. For the most part, they shut down emotionally, but every once in a great while, they think, maybe this person will prove me wrong. They are more kind than the rest. If you twist the door handle before closing it to avoid the latch making a sound. If you're like me and 6'3" walking around like a ninja, do you cut the tops of the chip bags off so they don't make a crinkle noise when you reach in? Your parents were likely narcissists and you did your best to go unnoticed, and those habits continue in life. Quick to help others. Saying sorry a lot. They feel guilty for things they didn't even do. Check their eyes. My friends who have went through the most always have a different look in their eyes. Not a look filled with curiosity or interest or excitement like a child. They more give off a look of defeat and exhaustion. They zone out a lot. They seem very spacey. High emotional states, either extremely emotionally aware and mature, or the exact opposite. Those two extremes usually tell me someone has been through the trenches. Which way they look while talking. Either they look down and don't make eye contact, or the eyes are never still, flitting around, looking for bad things to happen. Source: looking for bad things to happen. New people in group who couldn't make eye, not I Freudian mistake. I was bartending one night and I served this older couple with a smile. They were really nice and I didn't think I was acting any different, even though I was going through a lot at the time. The old lady looked at me after I had cast them out and said, "You have a really sad look in your eyes. It's gonna get better." She could tell I was going through something just by looking in my eyes, like some sort of magic. How they notice everything around them because they grew up being exposed to dangerous situations. Someone that seems particularly resilient may have been through a lot. On the other hand, someone that seems guarded or defensive that hasn't healed yet may have been through a lot. Physical scars. I'm a good example because I was a heroin addict for 30 years. It's been 14 years since I used, but I carry the physical scars of addiction. I notice other people's scars. It doesn't have to just be track marks. I've noticed scars from abuse, trauma, etc. They often offer advice or support easily, drawing from their own experiences. Are surprised when you don't yell at them. Being a people please to the point it does them a disservice. Damn, this post is hitting hard. I do a few of these things. The biggest one is a huge startle reflex, like if someone comes to the door or surprises me. This came about later in life. My teenage daughter thought it was hilarious and would hide to scare me and record it, until I told her how much it actually put my body into a trauma response, which then leads to widespread pain. I also do take things personally. I am trying to work on it. I feel for every one of you. There's a lot of good answers here, but a lot depends on where they are in the healing process of said trauma. They are deeply empathetic, hyper-aware. They love staying awake alone at night. They take things way too personally. They are unnecessarily defensive. People who read the most minute changes in body language have often developed that as a survival skill. If they say it's time to get away from someone, don't ask questions. Just go. ... I don't know if I like this thread. There's too many me's in here. You can see it in their eyes. Also, most of them have a happy face to hide the pain. Reads the temperature of a room right away and adjusts reactions and conversations to that vibe. As a manager, the person who is funny and charming. They have built impressive walls to feel likable, but are hiding some really intense insecurities. Thanks for watching.